that's good. I haven't found my first Blanton's. Wow. That's different. I really like that. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud.
Yeah, now I'm gorgeous. Although probably fuzzier was better.
Okay. So this is not what I expected. Hey, how's it going? It's Thursday and it's Bourbcast time, and we're going to get right into it because there's a lot we're going to do tonight, and I don't want to have you sitting here for a whole hour. I want to get through everything and just kind of do what I can to make these a little shorter. I've been rambling on, and I just don't need to do that. So, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Here we go. This is, hey, I can't see it. Sam. Sam's watching. Hey, Sam, how are you? My eyes have gotten so bad I can't even see that far away from me. Anyway, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. First, I promised you last Thursday I was going to give this a taste of its own because I had done this after the Redemption Rye Rum Cask. And they were just so different, I just couldn't get a good tasting out of this. So we're just going to knock this out right now and take care of this and see what I think of this on its own. Now, I know I like this, but how do I feel about it when I haven't had the Redemption Rye? Which, by the way, I did get into that bottle a little more this week, and after it sat there for a while, oh, that was kind of tasty. The rum just comes out a little bit more. That first night, fresh pop of the cork probably didn't give that rye all the love it should have gotten. All right, so here we go. This is the Angel's Envy finished rye, finished in rum casks. Okay, I'm getting a lot of the same notes I got last week. Very sweet, very brown sugary, sorghum, butterscotch, graham cracker, big one. Yeah. Toffee, very tasty. But I am getting a few more of the rye notes that I didn't get last week because the Redemption was so much rye that it tasted like a rye with just a little bit of rum. This tastes like something else. I also found out that the casks that this is aged in is like a Madeira cask or Madeira cask or something like that. Something else is in this before they age that. I don't know. Anyway, or maybe cognac. That's what it was. Cognac barrels. I don't know. Anyway, it's tasty, but if you want a rye, this isn't it. This is way too sweet for a normal rye. It's very good. I really like it. Way too sweet. And it makes me happy. Sorry. All right. So, Elijah Craig. Let's see. First, the photo. We had voting on the photo because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use. The one that I chose is this one, and I will tell you why. It's not the one I would have expected to choose, but it's the one that I ended up choosing, and I like it. By the way, Sam says, have you had any of the Jefferson's Ocean batches? To be truthful, I have one in my possession, but I haven't tried it yet, Sam. That's one I can do in the future, if you would like. I've been meaning to get to it. I just haven't done it. I do like Jefferson's, and I do like the Jefferson's Cabernet Sauvignon cask. Yeah. Very winey. Reminds me of the Angel's Envy. Reminds me of the, maybe a little bit like the Derringer from Rabbit Hole, although that's much more red winey than the Redemption, or the, what did you call it? The Jefferson's Ocean, or Jefferson's. Yeah. So anyway, back to the photos. We had several that were in contention. There were 5. So let me walk you through these. This was the third one. I'm going to walk you through here. Let's see. So the first one was this one. We did have quite a few votes for this one, including the gym, the wellness studio, where I work out and where I took this photo. So they liked this one. Then there was another one that was really similar to it that I decided not to use. Come on, get on up there. It's arguing with me. All right, here we go. So this is similar to it. They like it because it shows the weights and it shows the exercise balls. And hey, Robert, how are you, man? Welcome to the show. I'm showing the pictures that I took and why I chose what I chose. So this is the second picture. And, you know, people liked it too, but the first one was a little bit more to the liking. Then, of course, the third one, which we're using. We'll come back to that. Here's the fourth one. There were some people who liked this one. I like this one because it has the traditional boxing gloves in it. Just really, really cool. And I like the composition of that one. And then the fifth one was this one, and nobody voted for this one. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't really show a whole lot other than a boxing glove and the bottle. So the one that got chosen was this one, number 3. And it's going to argue with me, so I'm going to have to just kind of get there when I get there. There we go. All right, so here's number 3. And it's got the MMA gloves that I use when I go there and box. And of course, your Elijah Craig. Now, so Facebook, I didn't get a whole lot of response out of it. But Reddit, on the other hand, 3,700. So 3,700 people, over 3,700 people saw the photo. It was 84% an upvote, which was nice, but that's like 12 upvotes. So we did pretty well there, but that one overwhelmingly was this photo here. So there you have it. That's how all that worked out. So this is the one we're choosing. This is the official photo with the MMA gloves, and that's the one that's going to be on the Bourbcast. That's the one that's going to be posted later. Is the photo, the official photo? It's the one that's going to be on Instagram, and it's also going to be the one that's going to be the poster frame of the YouTube videos, which is now I have put a lot of work into that over the last couple of weeks. I think the blog at beautifulbourbon.com is finally ready. All right, so let's get this poured. I've already wasted a ton of time. Sorry. This is the A122. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A122. This is the first of 3 releases this year. There will be 2 more. There are 3 every year. This one is 120.8 proof. It's uncut, straight from the barrel. No chill filtering either. Each bottle is hand labeled with its unique proof and batch number. This one came out in January. It's aged for 12 years. Mash bill of 78% corn, 12% malted barley, and 10% rye. All right. Now, this one has had some criticism because it is a lower proof point than the releases last year. They were all a little higher, but that also made them harder for some people to drink, whereas this one being at about 120.8, some people are going to find that just about at the top of their tolerance level anyway. But those who are really loving the barrel proof like it hotter. Now keep in mind, it's not a bourbon anymore legally if it comes out of the barrel at more than 125 proof, right? But the barrel proof can be no more than 125. As the water goes out of it, it's going to raise up in proof. So it's a little bit of a misnomer. I decided to use the big Bourbon Trail glass instead of the Glencairn tonight because the Bourbon Trail glass has a wider snoot. It may help this breathe a little bit faster than if I used a Glencairn. It'll still bring the scent right up into my schnoz like it's supposed to. Quinn is watching. Hey, Quinn. How are you, man? A man after my own heart, just as knowledgeable about bourbon and whiskey, if not more than I am. I don't know how long he's been drinking. I pretty much started the fall before everything went to hell. It was fall of 2019 when I really got going. Okay, let's start with the nose. First thing it caught me is the ethanol. By the way, I love Elijah Craig. I haven't met an Elijah Craig I didn't like. But that's the first thing that hit me was the ethanol. Now let's go for number 2. Oh, it made it even harder. I could fry it off some of my nose hairs. All right, settle. I'm glad I'm not using the Glencairn. I would have just completely fried my brain right then. Some of the typical notes that you'd normally get off of your typical bourbon. I do sense that sweetness in there. There's a licorice component to the top of it. Maybe that's the ethanol speaking. But I'm getting your vanillas and your caramels and peppery. It's peppery on the nose. Getting that oak. There's a very slight fruit note. I'm going to call it orange. Orange peel. Okay. Again, without any further ado, we're moving along. We got stuff we're doing tonight, so stick around. Here we go. Woo! Ha ha! Okay. So last night, I was sipping on the old Overholt 114. That's the OHLQ pick from 2020. And I talk about this one a lot because it's one of my favorites. It does not drink like it's 114 proof. That's only, 12% alcohol by volume. Is that right? Less than this. Is that right? No, 3%. Anyway, I'm bad at math. This drinks a lot hotter than that old Overholt. Kevin, at volleyball, between games, checking in on this. Well, I'm glad you could be here, Kevin. Thanks for coming. And Mark is with us. Hey, Mark. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show. This is the Bourbcast. This is number 91. 91. Unreal. I was looking at some of those that are like in the 60s and realizing just how long ago they really were, and they felt like yesterday. Really? I did Uncle Nearest last year? Yeah, I did. But now we've got them all up on YouTube. I fixed all the mistakes today. Not in the editing, not in the videos, just in the stupidity of me posting like doubles and triples and spelling something wrong. Just stupid stuff. All right, here we go. Number 2. All right. That's delicious. That's really good. Once you get past the ethanol, that was my second dram of this. And the first one was hot. And I just needed to get my palate ready for another taste. And this is one of those that may take a little longer than that. And I may have to do it a third time to really get some good notes out of it. I will tell you that the complexity is nice. That's one of the things that's nice about the higher proofs. Just adds to that complexity. There's just something about it. I mean, you water it down, and of course you're going to lose some complexity, right? But some of them don't. Some bourbons just taste complex even after they've been cut. The Old Forester stuff, some of the Buffalo Trace stuff. There's still a lot going on in those glasses. You get an Old Forester 1920, it's one of my favorites. It's a higher proof too. Excuse me, not like this, but it's up there. Mac's watching. Hey, how are you, Mac? Welcome back to the Bourbcast. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. I do appreciate it, Mac. All right, so one more of these. And then we're going to do the water and the ice. I left the ice in the freezer, of course. Got brand new ice spheres and everything. All right, so on finishing that, that's 3 now. 3 that I've downed, and that is still hot. The bloom on my tongue is just very present. It's just sitting there. This is going to make a great cocktail, which we're going to do in a little while. But the flavors I'm getting from this, again, they're a little harder to pull out because it's just a high proof, and it's a burning high proof. It's a hot one. As opposed to like the Nulu and the Old Overholt, and there was another high proofer I had a few weeks ago that surprised me because it didn't hit me really hard for its proof. This one is I can appreciate somebody wanting the higher proofs if they really like it. This one is just fine with me. It's 120.8. That's fine because it drinks hotter than other ones of similar proofs. Okay. Max says, good buddy. Curious to hear about this. I enjoyed the 2020 Whiskey of the Year, but heard this may not be quite as good. You are echoing the sentiments of many people, Mac, that have been talking about this particular pour. I checked out Breaking Bourbon tonight, and I'll read to you what they said about it, because it's kind of right along the same lines as what you just said. First batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in 2022, A122 picks up where last year's left off, with a lower proof point coming in at 120.8. For some, this proof point is already touching their upper limits of enjoyability. However, when it comes to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, the brand has built a reputation around being a high-aged and high-proof bourbon. A122 affords a sip that will please many, but wow few. I don't know. Its solid foundation, rooted in bourbon fundamentals, is found in its nose and finish, most displaying classic scents and flavors. Its midpoint displays more earthy flavors that you wish had a bit more development behind them. Overall, it's on the less exciting side for a batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, but knowing the potential for the brand, I remain optimistic for what the other two batches this year will be. Palate, it says here, oak. I got that. Leather, I can agree. Caramel, absolutely. That was the first thing I got, was a caramel. Rye spice, hints of cinnamon, yes. Toasted earthy flavors. That's that 12-year. And that's the other thing, too. This thing, for sitting there for 12 years, you'd think it'd be more mellow than this. No, it's not mellow. It's not mellow. Now, the proofs of past bottles were higher. And if the 120 is giving me complexity, the 120.8, if it's giving me more complexity than a typical bottle of Elijah Craig, that could be in the proof. And I like high proofs too, but I also like lower proofs. I can be happy with an 80 proof if it tastes good, if it's got flavor to it. All right, so let's do a little water on this. Even the guy, Mac, at the liquor store was telling me that he was disappointed that it was, let's go a little more, that it was only 120. He's not even a high proofer. He's not a guy that likes to drink a lot of high proofs, but he knows what people think about these bottles, and they want them up there. So I can't personally imagine. I have some of the higher ones downstairs. I never opened them. This one I wanted to open, and I was kind of eager to open it because it is a little bit lower than those, and I wanted to be able to get some flavor out of it. Some of those that are really high proof, I don't get any flavor. All I get is ethanol, unless I cut them. And then if I'm going to cut them, what's the point, of getting a high proof bottle? Mr. Barkley is very interested in what I have on the floor, and I'll get to what I have on the floor, but he's been all over it today. Goofy. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. That's still got a lot of nice heat, but boy, did that cut that down. It cut down the punch in the face and brought out a bunch of flavors. Bunches of flavors. Vanilla now, cinnamon caramel, salted caramel now. Boy, is that different. That changed it a lot. That opened it up, calmed it down. Salted caramel is number one. That's what I'm getting out of that. That's delicious. That's really tasty. I love Elijah Craig. Like I said earlier, there's not an Elijah Craig that I've ever tried that I haven't liked. I like them all. I do have the toasted barrel. I haven't opened it yet. I know a lot of people really love that. I want to taste that one outside the hype, right? I want to be able to taste that. Just I try to avoid the hype of everything. I don't open these bottles because all of a sudden, you know. I want to be able to taste them when they're not super hot. You know, when everybody's talking about them on the internet and giving their notes and giving their ideas. And all right, one more of these, and then we'll do the ice. Now that I have it. Little butterscotch in that one too. Really nice. Really, really nice. Mac, if you end up picking up this bottle, I think you're going to be happy with it. The flavors that are coming out of this, again, I have nothing to compare it to. I have the bottles, but I haven't opened them because they're hard to find, right? This one just happens to be one that I found. It was the only one left on the shelves. They had put out a batch and they all got swiped. And just as I was ready to walk out, they put out 3 more. And this was one of them. And I actually had it in my hand. And because I have 2 bottles that I haven't opened from last year, I put it back. I put it back and I said, I'm just going to let it sit there. And if anybody wants it, they can have it. I tried to do the right thing. The guy behind the counter looks at me and he goes, I wouldn't do that if I were you. But I did. I did do that if I were me. Because I am me. And I decided to let it sit. Well, it sat there for like 10 minutes. And then I thought, all right, fine. I will cave into peer pressure and I will get this bottle. And I'm glad I did. Because I don't know if I would have opened the other ones. This one I'm going to open because now I've got a couple of these and, well, one of these. But it's worth it. All right. These are my gorgeous ice spheres. These are the Wintersmith ice spheres. And I did an interesting experiment with these. Because one of the things that I was kind of lamenting about when it comes to the Wintersmiths is the fact that it uses so much water. It seems to be not very economical when it comes to water, like the little one that does 2. I mean, just enough water to make it and then a little bit left over, right? This has got a lot of water left in the bottom. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to reuse that water. So I let it melt. It took like a day and a half to melt. And then I put the top back on it, filled it back up, put it back in the freezer, and I got 7 more. And guess what? It's back in the freezer again now. I'm going to have a lot of ice spheres. I won't run out for a while. All right. Mike is watching. Hey, Mike. We are doing the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is the A122 from this year, the first of 3 batches. That's 120.8 proof. It is hot. I really like it on water. Really liked it on water. Now we're going to try it on ice. Although I don't have a lot of room in there to swim this around. All right. We do have 2 drinks we're going to do. And I think this is going to be perfect for it, for both of them. All right. So on ice. It changed the flavor again. I want to say it brought out some toffee. Boy, or a darker caramel. It definitely is not the sweet butterscotch that I got when I put it with water. This is different. The ethanol is cooled off. Again, you put it on ice, you mute the flavors. But when it's 120.8 proof, you still have plenty of kick and you still have plenty of flavor. All right. Here we go. It's still got a salty feel to it to me. I like that. That could be the barrel. It could be the oak. It definitely got more salty on ice than it was to me on water. Still very good. I think I like it best with a little water in it. It just is almost overly salty when I put it on ice. That's what I'm getting out of it. It's not even salted caramel. It might be salted toffee. The caramel switch, the sweetness is gone. It's a little bit darker. Is that anything? Is that a way to describe it? Darker? Darker caramel? I don't know. Still very good. It might be a great way for somebody who's new to bourbons to drink this, although I don't know that I would give anybody who's new to bourbons this to drink. It'd scare them away, especially neat. But my preference on this is with a little bit of water in it, just a little bit. I did maybe a little more than a half ounce. It wasn't a lot, didn't take much. All depends on how much you pour in your glass too, let's be real. And I didn't pour a whole lot in there. Okay, it's cocktail time. And I've been really kind of excited about this one. Jeff's watching. Hey, Jeff, how are you? He was here earlier tonight, and he didn't want to leave. He saw what I was going to open. I gave him a whiff of it. He's like, I'm going to stay. You could have. You could have. It's okay. All right. So the first of two drinks is going to be a little bit more busy. All right. So it's a simple old-fashioned, but we're going to do something else to it. So, and I'm going to make it in a special way. Let's see. I've got my... Is that the one I want? Yeah, that's the one I want. That one and this one. Okay, so now, normally I would put ice down in the Boston Shaker first. Next week, my friend. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about that in just a little minute here. This is probably the biggest pour of the night now. That 2 ounce I just put in there. So it's 2 ounces of that, and I'm so lucky, I'm so stoked about this. I found my Demerara sugar. Found it locally, as a matter of fact, which I would not have guessed at all. It's a brown sugar, but it's very light in flavor. So it's not as sweet even as a regular simple syrup. But it does have some character to it. And typically, this is what is used in an old-fashioned, is Demerara. Most of the recipe... Get on there. Most of the recipes that I've looked at are very specific. I take that back. No, they're not. They should be. Some of the specific ones I've read said Demerara simple syrup. So that's why I was really wanting to find that. All right, so I've got the Demerara and the bourbon, and now some bitters. Just some simple Angostura bitters. 1, 2 is about it. And then I'm going to give that its own shake without anything else in it. Ooh, that was close. All right, that's good. Now we're going to smoke this bad boy. Doesn't take very much, which is nice. This, I've got more, but this little thing is probably going to last me a year. All right, we turn the fan on. I hope this match still works. It's really old. Yay. All right. I didn't leave the fan on long enough to really light that stuff. I'm brand new with it. I've only used it one time. Really? Ah, shit. This isn't going the way I wanted it to go. I was going to leave the fan on, try it one more time. Jesus. 2 matches. All right, I'll use the other one for something else. There. All right. So I'm getting that smoke down in there. And now I close it up. Stop that bad boy. And now I'll shake it again because I want the smoke to become incorporated with the bourbon. Okay, so I still have my ice ball in there. I'm just going to use that. Look at that. Pour that over it. Beautiful. Smells wonderful. When you do it right and you don't throw stuff on your lap, it actually works pretty well. Like that. Let's just do that on my lap. I got to get that or the dog will lick it, and that would be gross. Get out of there. Jeez, oh Friday. All right. Okay. This is why I'm not a bartender yet. I throw stuff all over the floor. Get that in there. Hope no bartenders are watching. I'd really like to have a job someday. And of course, the orange peel, which we're going to use the last match. Ouch. And express it. Here we go. A smoked old fashioned with Elijah Craig barrel proof bourbon. It wasn't pretty, guys, but doggone, that's good. Holy cow. All right, in the interest of time, I'm going to set that aside. I don't want to. That's really good. This really stands up in that. It pulls through, the flavors are still there. It's not knocked out by everything else. That's good. That's really good. Okay, all right, okay. So last but not least, since this is actually a alcohol holiday, and it is National Beer Day, and I don't drink a whole lot of beer anymore, but I decided to celebrate this one. This is a mug I got from Cheers in Boston. The actual Cheers, the Bull and Finch, in Boston. I went there in like 2011, 2010, something like that. And I bought these mugs, and I have never drank out of them because I stopped drinking beer in about 2011. Oh, I'll still have a beer every now and then. I'm not a purist. But one of the things that I wanted to do here on National Beer Day is give homage to National Beer Day by making a Boilermaker. Now, I had to do some research because, you know, people talking about beer are just as crazy as the way I talk about bourbon. Tasting this note and caramel and vanilla and licorice and pepper and all that stuff, right? They do that with beer. So I did look into this a little bit, and a Boilermaker that started in the early to mid 1800s and centers around actual literal Boilermakers. The hardworking men who build and maintain boilers for trains. Oh, shoot. It's not a twist-off cap. Golly. Trains and ships and things like that. Okay. So that's where it got its name, is those people would get off of work and then they want to calm down and they want to, you know, like maybe sauce themselves a little bit to ease the pain. And they worked hard. We say we work hard nowadays. They worked hard. And they still do when they do that stuff. Tuning in late, rest assured I'll go back and watch the VOD. Thank you, Michael. Hello, sir. I'm glad you're here. Okay, Boilermaker. In many ways, this is how porters came to be known as porters. The beer style was popular with the porters that worked on the docks in London. Now, one of the things I found out was that if you wanted to make a Boilermaker properly, the best way to do this with bourbon is with Pilsner beer. So then, of course, KC goes down the rabbit hole and needs to find the best Pilsner beer. So I found a couple different websites, and one of them had like 200, maybe 150, 200 beers listed in order from worst to best, right? They had them all scored. Some of them, there might have been 5 of them or 10 of them that got a 93 or whatever. So, I mean, there were lots of them on the list. Out of all of them on the list, only one of them got a 100. Of course, the store that I went to didn't have that, but they did have this one, which was number 3 on the list. It is pronounced Weihenstephaner. Weihenstephaner. It doesn't look like that, but it is the number 3 best chosen Pilsner in the whole list. It scored a 99. There were, I don't know, several, maybe 3 that scored 99. Only one scored a 100. So I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this with the best bourbon and the best Pilsner. And I'm going to do this in my Cheers mug that I've never used. Now, because I am curious. Wow, that's delicious. Whew, that's really good. Here's what they say about this beer. Super sexy looking in the glass. I mean, you think that we're crazy in bourbon. Listen to this. Opens with an herbal, almost ganja-like hop character. That's what I was going to say. Followed by sweet, bready malt and pleasant sulfur notes. Don't ever give me sulfur notes in my beer or in my bourbon. Lager sulfur and bready malt meld with hops in the flavor. Bitterness is a bit low but easy drinking, just an absolutely crushable Pilsner that any craft beer novice would have zero problem approaching. Crisp, integrated, floral nose. The flavor is bright and light with a balanced bitter backbone and effervescent carbonation. Simple yet thorough, accomplished. Beer. One of these days I'll get back into drinking beer. Maybe after this, because it actually is quite good. I'm glad I bought that. All right, so a Boilermaker, there's different ways to do this. You can drink the beer, drink the bourbon. You can drink the bourbon, then drink the beer. The way I was always taught to do it is to just drop that sucker down in there and enjoy. You're supposed to guzzle it. I'm not going to do that. That is good. That is good. I like that. All right. So we've had the smoked old fashioned, which I am going to further enjoy off camera. I've got my Boilermaker that I'm going to further enjoy off camera, I think before I get back to the old fashioned, because that is good. And then I've got an orange to eat. I'll save that for breakfast tomorrow. Michael says, there's a lot more room to hide flavors in craft beers as opposed to liquors, I imagine. No idea. Like I said, I stopped drinking beer a long time ago. It's just because I don't like the carbs. It makes me feel puffy when I drink beer. And beer as an alcohol does different things to me, like psychologically. I can drink this all night and my personality won't change. I just start drinking beer and I get like a beer drinker. Actually, okay. I'll just say it. Okay? I can drink any spirit. Rum, vodka, tequila, all of them. I'm fine. Moonshine makes me mean. Beer makes me horny. I said it, okay? That's one of the reasons I don't drink beer anymore, because I get a little randy. It is what it is. So, okay. Yeah. So, and plus, like I said, it's liquid bread, and I don't eat much bread. I try to stick, like tonight, we had pork chops and Brussels sprouts. I served my son mashed potatoes, but I don't eat them. I try to eat healthy. I try to keep the starches out of my diet. Try to keep the bread out of my diet. This is liquid bread, but this is tasty liquid bread. This is really quite good. And I have a few more. This is what the dogs have been crazy about tonight. They've been coming up and sniffing this. So, but it's very good. And if I'm going to recommend a beer or a Pilsner, I would tell you this. I wrote down the way to describe it. I even went online to watch the video to figure out how to pronounce this. Weihenstephaner, because it's an ER. Weihenstephaner is how they pronounce that. So anyway, okay. All right, well, we have been 41 minutes. It's time to wrap this up. I want to thank you for coming along. Next week, we are going to go back to the Angel's Envy, but it's not going to be this one. Jeff is going to join me, and he has one of the distillery releases, which I think is a single barrel. It's a higher proof. He's dying to open it, so I'm going to let him. And we're going to try that Angel's Envy next week on the Bourbcast. So it'll be me and Jeff, and it's going to be a good time. So do join us for that. If you've been curious at all about the Angel's Envy, those distillery releases, you can find them other places. I've seen the single barrels at some of the stores in Kentucky, like the big one, the Party Source. They have their own barrel release and things like that. This one is from the distillery. So, and I've got one of those myself. But he wants to open his because he needs to start drinking his stuff, his wife said. So we'll drink his. It's fine with me. It'll be the same as anything I've got downstairs, and then I won't have to open mine. Unless we get crazy. She's coming too to be his DD, so we may just drink all of them. What do you think? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, slowly but surely, we're getting everything populated on YouTube. I think we're done with that. I just got to get them on the website, beautifulbourbon.com. I've been neglecting Instagram. I need to get back to that. I've got a couple of photos I need to upload, of course. We're going to upload all 5 of these boxing photos, even though the one that I just showed you, the number 3, is the one that we're using. You say it's 101.2 proof. Really, dudes? Chill. Paul's here. Sorry I came in late. We're at Chattanooga Whiskey Distillery. You're at the distillery and you still tuned in and you needed to apologize? Dude, I wish I was where you are. Of course, I'd be doing a Bourbcast from there, but we'll get to that this summer. I'm going to get out and about. I've actually had offers, people to help me do this, go other places and want to help. So I'm stoked. This year's we're going to go crazy. It's going to be fun. I said that last year, but the coronavirus was still kind of hanging around. This year, it's pretty much, it's still, but it's kind of gone. It's mostly gone. So this year we're just going to throw caution to the wind and go do some drinking in other places. So Beautiful Bourbon on Instagram. You're at Facebook, YouTube at Beautiful Bourbon. We're on Rumble just a little bit. We're starting to populate that. I think that's it. So thank you. Thank you. Do share this if you had fun and you want to let people know what I thought of the A122. Share it. Tell them. And we'll see you again next week for Angel's Envy 101.2 proof. 10-year anniversary. Dude! Awesome, man. Paul, congratulations and happy anniversary. Fantastic. That's just the first 10 years. You got a lot of 10 years to celebrate. So just keep it going. Yeah, I got it. You're good. He corrected some misspellings. I got it. I knew what you were doing. Phones, thumbs, I'm with you. No, 10 years, that's fantastic. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Keep it going. So guys, gals, everybody, thank you so much. We will see you next week. We are going to be back here with the Angel's Envy, the single barrel, 100 and whatever the hell it was, 101.2 proof. Can't wait. See you next week.